Hello, my name is Mike Greenwalt, and this video is for Columbia Southern University Political and Legal Foundations of Fire Protection. I'm here to defend actions taken as a fire investigator on a scene that the crews had fought fire and left, and they had left for an additional structure fire that had been toned out with people trapped, including children. Under exigent circumstances, it is our right and authority, and it's our duty to conduct a fire investigation once there's a fire. And typically, the crews would remain on scene until the fire investigator gets there. But in this circumstance, they had a reason to leave. They had a duty to go and take care of the next alarm that came out. And I'm here to defend my actions on why it went down the way it did, why I showed up shortly thereafter, and although firefighters did leave the scene, the notes show that law enforcement was on scene. I'd like to argue that the exigent circumstances were continued, and if you look at case law, Michigan versus Tyler, those fire investigators showed up roughly 4 hours after the firefighters left, and that was held up in the court of law under exigent circumstances. So the question to the court is whether or not the actions taken were reasonable for us to continue the investigation without obtaining a warrant and working under exigent circumstances. So a couple of things in addition to the crews leaving and fighting another fire. I arrived shortly after suppression, and law enforcement was with me. There was a chain of evidence that has remained intact. The samples were collected and never broken. The chain of evidence was never broken. I would argue that this is a continuation of exigent circumstances, and that it was a reasonable amount of time, and that with the factors involved, this is something that I think the court should look at on when I return to the scene. It is for the benefit of public safety, and if you look at NFPA 921, 12.3.3.2.1, it's the duty of fire officials to determine cause and origin. So consent, and additionally 12.3.3.1 states that consent to enter was never withdrawn. So we continued the investigation without ever having the consent to enter being withdrawn, and we had law enforcement personnel with us. And once we determined that this could be an arson, we involved law enforcement and let them know that we were going to proceed with the incendiary charges, and that's when the homeowners returned and stated that we were not allowed to be there anymore. So my argument is that we did what we could considering the circumstances, and I'd like the court to review the documents that I've referred to as they make their decision on whether or not this was a reasonable approach to the situation. Thank you. Bye-bye.